Damn, that never gets old. I love that intro.
Yeah.
It's Saturday night. Holy shitballs, we made it.
What kind of a, isn't it a sinful Saturday? Sinful Sunday.
Sinful Sunday, Satanic Saturday.
Oh.
That's right. We are back. The goddamn program is in effect. Valentine's Day edition. We're going to have a little fun tonight. We're going to have a lot of crowd interaction questions for y'all tonight as we discuss love and relationships. I don't know. I am ready to go. I got my Hoofbeast shirt on representing, and we're just going to have a fucking blast tonight. So before we get into all this business, we're going to take a quick commercial break to our brothers over at Poison Valley Clothing. Check it out. Allahu Akbar. Oh, yeah. So you want to get yourself a custom, well-done, horror-inspired t-shirt. That is the place to go. Super low price, fast shipping, and his artistry designs are amazing. So check him out on Facebook. All right. Welcome, Johnny Necro, out there in the house tonight. From last night, thank you all so much for making the double shot Reapers Underground. Such a fun experience. We learned so much. I think we've gained so much together from hearing from Cody and Johnny about their journey in their creativity and where they're headed. So, but tonight it's time to let the hair down, or lack thereof. Get yourself a nice poured drink. I don't care. Get your gummies on. Do the Babylon Sun thing. Yeah, if he makes it in tonight, I'm sure he's going to be ripped.
Babylon, wine and gummies.
That's right.
100%.
So we so love our addicts. So, and you know, it's Saturday. This week is in the rear view, and if it was a sucky one, here's something to make you feel a little bit better. I know that always makes me feel good. And if that didn't work.
I love how she goes down and she jumps down even further to finish him off.
Exactly. She wasn't done. She was going for blood, man. But like I said, if that doesn't work, this just might.
Oh, my.
It's become a regular ritual for us here on the goddamn program to show you the ass of all asses.
The love of my life.
I love it. Mousebog in the house.
And don't tell my wife about that woman being the love of my life, because she told me, she said, please tell everybody that I hate this fucking Sangwasugabog shirt. Hates this. I love it.
What's happening, Mousebog? Oh shit. She goes, I was fully expecting her to elbow drop from the top rope. I was like, man, I would have like just got up and cheered at that point. I mean, she already gave that motherfucker the hey, it's time to get the fuck out move. That was beautiful. And
He'll
then,
always
moments like that, and this is probably a moment that we all wish for, really, if I can find it. Where did it go? Don't tell me it didn't make it on. Nope. You could always be a holy diver. I mean, that would just make my day as well. See, we already got the smiles and the warm fuzzies on everyone's faces, and the comments are just lighting up. All right, Kyler, what's happening, brother? uh, yep, believe it or not, holy diver.
I want to know if it's to drink tonight and what's going on the dating scene.
Exactly. It's Valentine's Day edition, and I got some off the cuff questions I'm going to be asking our wonderful addicts in the comment section, as well as Hoof Beast and myself. Little intimate discussion about love. Let's see here. Hey, Rebecca, what's going on? Mousebong says, I feel you, Beast. My partner hates all my Peter Steele smut. I mean, why does he hate it? Is it envy? I mean, every man in the world wanted to be that man back in the 90s. Are you kidding? I mean, not just for, obviously he had a fucking dog in his fucking pants, but, the man's hair. I had hair envy. I wish I had those flowing black locks of his. Holy fuck. It was amazeballs. Let's see here. Kyler says, hello, my friends. I was scrolling through Facebook and I came across a stupid post how Jesus will save you and give you wealth, and all the comments, damn Facebook. Oh, okay.
Baseball.
I mean, it's crazy, Everywhere we look, that shit goes up. Let's see. Hey, Frozen Dead. Sorry. Now I see now I see other comments. Awesome. I'm glad you were able to tune in on your YouTube. Sometimes YouTube's a little bit easier to see comments. Facebook is kind of like, sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. Mousebong says, I got busted looking at his Playgirl spread when I was young. I'm sure your folks really dug that. Maybe damn near gave your mom a heart attack. I mean, for you, it was Peter Steele in a Playgirl magazine. For me, it was Lita Ford in a big old spread and Hit Parader magazine. The one where only a guitar is covering her entire body.
How about you do it the way that you never get caught? That's what I did. My dad had 2 Playboys downstairs, and he had them in this special box. And one summer, I found those fuckers in there. And so, of course, they stayed there, but they were accessed whenever needed.
I think all of our dads had those secret stashes back in the day.
Yeah. One had Dolly Parton on the front cover. And so I thought for sure she was going to be in there, but she wasn't.
They just wanted a celebrity that everybody was just, oogling over. Yeah. But, she's too pure for that. And I don't mean necessarily in the religious sense, but she was just one of those that goes, I know I'm hot, but I ain't going to show the rest of the world.
She's like 79 now.
And still fucking gorgeous. I mean, great plastic surgeon. Don't get me wrong.
She looks really plastic to me, though.
Very much so. That's one thing she's never, really lost. Kyler says, I'm going to be alone and drinking on Valentine's Day. Well, that's what? A Wednesday night? So I'll be at work till 8 p.m. So, it's going to be a very chill Valentine's Day, I think. Frozen Dead says, if I close my eyes forever, I can still picture Lita. I mean, how can you not? She was in her fucking prime. And she was like the international party girl. You know, she's the one that you went to parties for and could use as a party favor. Because she was all about that shit. You give her some fucking Stoli, she's down for the count, ready to go because she wants to. Yes, Mouse Bong, absolutely. Dolly looks amazing still. Did you know she has hella tattoos? Really? And that's why she always wears long sleeves. No kidding. I want to see Dolly with tattoos.
Hell yeah.
Man. Now I'm gonna try to search the web just to see if anyone's got a paparazzi shot of her with her tattoos hanging out, because that's awesome. Why the hell not? All right. So, and since he had mentioned that, Kyler did, you're wasting your time. I'm the king of hiding evidence.
That's awesome. Absolutely. 100 fucking %. I love that meme.
I mean, I got to keep the blasphemy rolling, man. It brings us all such wonderful, warm, fuzzy feelings, you know?
You know, where I live, the onslaught and the overflow of just nonsensical platitude, bullshit, happy feeling Jesus bullshit. It's so thick in South Carolina, especially in the country of South Carolina. Or in the state of South Carolina. It's, oh my gosh, so sick of this shit. So this is my release.
I mean, isn't it really going to crank their yanker that, every time they think the rapture is about to happen, it's like we get to clown on all those people. And believe me, we're clowning them. It's like, what was it? 2023, they said it was happening like in November or some shit like that. And I said, it's time to make fun of the raptures. So, all of us would get on Facebook and go, Mark safe from the rapture, because we don't want none of that. So, personally, I think they're all nudists and they just want to shed their clothes.
One that super right-wing Christo-fascists really like to push is the idea that there's a benefit with this rapture. So my question for 35 years has been, okay, Southern Baptist grandma who died 5 years ago missed out on the rapture. So doesn't she have less of a benefit? I mean, didn't she really miss out? Is she like half a Christian now because she missed out on the rapture? Because they really present it as if there's some big special benefit.
Right. No, you are absolutely correct. It's like, the price is right. If you don't make it, you don't get the deal of a century. So that would be actually a really good question, just, in passing, if you run into a deacon or some other, poser that works for the church, ask them. So, hey, my Aunt Sally passed away, about 6 months ago, and she missing out on anything with the not being able to do the rapture? Just to see what they say. That's what I would like to see. Answer that fucking question. I bet you can't.
In my second year of teaching high school, I had a student that both parents were not responsible, so he lived with his aunt and his uncle. This dude was from almost every Southeastern Conference football team: Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, like the real big names.
Yeah.
Came in and showed me the letters, and he was an amazing physique, like strong. His calves were as big as my thighs.
Oh damn!
It was just a tank.
I guess.
I was out one night and
probably has to squat to wipe his ass.
A drunk driver across the median at 2:30 in the morning. Kid, what the fuck are you doing out on a Wednesday night at 2:30 in the morning? And hit a 91 Toyota Tercel head on. He He was in the back seat and with no seatbelt, went flying the front window, broke the glass of the windshield, and his head was barely hanging on by a little bit of muscle. Snapped everything off. It was like flopped and back.
Holy shitballs.
And so all of the coaches and his former teachers and stuff, we all went to the funeral service, and it was like a Southern Baptist evangelical type service.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of comforting everybody, tried to scare the shit out of all the teenagers. And like, I would say like 25 boys and girls went up on the stage to be saved because of this scaring the hell out of them, saying, you don't know, tomorrow might be your day. Are you good with God? It was so disgusting. I've never forgotten. I have so many examples that are just so disgusting.
Something that really bothered the fuck out of me. They think Jesus is some kind of warrior and Satan is pure evil. And I'm sitting here like, did we read the same book? I read multiple books and they are all wrong. I mean, it's just hypocrisy after hypocrisy. What's been added in, what's been taken away. It's just whatever serves people's controlling agendas at, the present time, no matter what century we're fucking living in. So I'd go on all day about that.
Satan, otherwise known as the adversary, is the best friend, and these are not my words or my thoughts, of the church.
Yes.
They get to play on Satan and the Church of Satan and black metal Satanists and death metal Satanists. And
I mean, the church needed a devil, and that's exactly what Anton was talking about and what he felt, because if they didn't have something to steer every single human being to their will, their way of being, that, I don't, all them bigwigs in the Vatican, they don't fear no damn devil. They're sitting on a fortune.
Mm-hmm.
Literally sitting on a fortune bigger than anyone fucking knows. And, they needed the devil to keep people believing in that.
Making them cashola. They grift.
Big time. Got to tithe, man. You got to tithe every Sunday.
They grift off of the devil. And
the priest needs a new Cadillac. Come on. Give deep, people. Oh, shit. Frozen Dead Johnny says, the most judgmental assholes on the planet, hypocritical, self-serving pricks with holier than thou hatred towards anyone different. Oh, yes, because we're all evil. Although if this was the 1800s, shit, if it was the 1600s, we're all witches. We're all in league with Satan. Well, guess what? Satan is you. Satan is me. We are our own gods, no masters. We serve no one. We serve ourselves. That's what it's all about. Let's see. Rebecca says, oh, okay. Well, that's awesome. Says our phones have shit service here at the FedEx Forum, but popping in for support. Oh, you guys are the best. They're at the Pantera Lamb of God concert right now, and they are still tuning in. How about that? Appreciate you all. Warms the heart.
I haven't seen Lamb of God in like 14 years. I would like to see.
It would be interesting to catch them now with obviously the newer drummer, just because I feel like his feel is a bit different than the original. So Paul says, lucky them. Paul, welcome, brother. You finished with set today? Paul here was on the set of making a movie today.
Cool.
So really interesting to see what role he's got there, because he had to wear a wig, like an old man wig, like old gray hair. So looked like a lot of fun. Oh, man. All right. So let's move on. Now, some of us, most of us, are going to recognize these fine gentlemen. And this, I think, speaks volumes so much today because it's by no mistake that I have been having this great conversation at that with so many people this week come to my store. And we just all keep like talking about some of these, great classic films and great classic comedy. Well, I came across this in my timeline. Go figure, Facebook listening to me. Says, when people ask what's wrong with me, this was my childhood. These four distinguished gentlemen were by far some of the coolest, most humanistic people, and brought us great joy, made us laugh, united us, brought us all together. We're talking about motherfucking George Carlin, Eddie Murphy in his prime, and of course, Sam motherfucking Kinison. Ow, ow! And then, of course, the Dice Man. So, I don't know. To this day, I'm thinking to myself, people always said back in, mid 80s, late 80s, or into the 90s, that these guys were they were just assholes. People were against them. The greater collective. I mean, go figure, right? Because everyone's got a bitch. But you put them up against people today, and it's like, well, first of all, those comics and their comedy style would not hold up today. It wouldn't. Their style, their crassness. But you know what? When I talk about them as being, some of the best humanists in the world, and talk about intelligence, holy shitballs, George Carlin. That man was so fucking smart. He predicted shit. And people would laugh at it back in those days. But guess what? Happened.
Have any one of those four back, it would be him.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I could go see any of those four today, it would be George Carlin for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know. Dice Man was just he was fun. He was like the epitome of Macho Man. You know what I mean? Obviously, a lot of women didn't like him, but there was still a shit ton of women that did like him because they loved that bad boy shit. You know what I mean? And he was one of those guys that was like, just didn't give a fuck. Eddie Murphy, I mean, shoot. After, what's his name? That's going to kill me. Richard Pryor.
Mm-hmm.
He took basically what Richard Pryor was doing and just upped it to the nth degree. And he was great. I still love him. I mean, sure. I mean, he's, well into his 50s now and doing mostly family entertainment. I understand that. But a 20, 30-year-old Eddie Murphy was just a brilliant comedian to me. But George Carlin definitely took the cake. What I really enjoyed about Sam Kinison was not his ability to scream, although it was kind of funny to watch him go from 0 to red in like a New York minute. But he was like this shorter, beefy guy, but he was big into metal. Halfway decent guitar player and could actually sing a little bit. So when he was doing that with his act, that's kind of when I caught on to him. Because, comedy albums like that back in our time, you had to do it on the sly. Somebody else had to get a hold of it, and then we would listen to it, either on a record player or DVD or VHS, in those days. And it was just fucking fun. Just a lot of fun. But George Carlin, man. Oof.
George Carlin's my favorite. I still watch his stuff because they post it on YouTube and Facebook and stuff like that regularly. But Sam Kinison I liked because he talked about the stupid parents in America quite often and criticized some of the bullshit going on. I enjoyed that. And Eddie Murphy, I went and saw him, I think my junior or senior year, they had at the movie theater, they had his comedy act. You could go just watch his stand up, and
I think it was Eddie Murphy Raw, wasn't it?
yeah, that was it. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like you can kind of get to know our humor a little bit and where it comes from. It comes from a very peaceful place. These guys weren't exactly angry, but one of the things that I think all those comics together kind of unify is they talked about real issues that were going on in those times. And they're still, I don't know, if you go back and watch some of them, they're still kind of prevalent today in a lot of ways, just different.
George Carlin, always prevalent.
Oh, shit. He was like that favorite uncle, that didn't mind talking about the serious issues and giving it to you straight. And that's what I loved about him. So we were kind of talking about guys like Mel Brooks, Blazing Saddles, and Robin Hood Men in Tights. During a time where no one gave a shit about what they said. They thought it was fucking hilarious. You know what I mean? Nobody was offended. Those were the days, man. It's like, shit. There was one comic recently, a newer guy. I just can't remember his fucking name to save my life. But, he said one little thing that wasn't even like in a cursing way or super, super derogatory or anything, almost got fucking canceled. The kid's like, what, 25, 26 years old. I'm sitting here going, this guy's really super fucking popular. People love him. But because of one little thing he said, he didn't, say, like I said, no curse words or anything serious at all. No, I mean, the old guys, that we just had on the screen there, man, they used every derogatory term there is in their stand-up. And this kid was like more on the clean side, but still, it's like, woo, I don't know how comics do it today. I really don't. But, that explains to a lot of folks why we have some of the humor we do, because we grew up with those guys and they were awesome. This generation just probably don't understand it and just say, oh, they're assholes, they're racist and all that stuff. No. Oh, most deaf. Frozen Dead says last night Cody made my night by calling me a punk John Candy. John Candy, man, he's another one. Loved that motherfucker. He was one of my favorites, man. Great Outdoors will always be in my top 5 of comedy films. Kyler says, we all need a good laugh nowadays. And I could not agree more. Because when shit is just too real all the time, that's when life gets fucking boring. And then you start to hate life. Well, we don't want to do that. All right. So moving on to our next portion of the goddamn list, which shame on me. Dun, dun, dun. There it is. And there that is. All right. Which is going to...
I will never, ever get bored of that. Never.
That's why I do it to you, man, because I know you're just going to appreciate it so much. So we're going to talk a little bit about love. Now, you're probably thinking out there, why am I using this photo? Because it reminds me of a simpler time. It says, life must have been so boring without cell phones. Nah, we managed. Because back in the day, when, high schoolers would get together, we didn't have cell phones that we were on glued to, 24/7 watching videos. We actually talked to each other without texting. It's so true. And to be honest, relationships were very much easier back in those days. Today is so different. And it's not because, one side was less strong than the other, nothing like that. It's just that we communicated, like we used our words.
Like now with cell phones, your boyfriend or girlfriend kind of has you on a chain. They can kind of chase you down. They can, why did it took you 5 minutes? Why I've been waiting for 5 minutes. Like they have all these kinds of things like that that they could get after us for now. Yeah.
You know, it's not like it was like the easiest way to, you know, for if people are going to cheat, they're going to cheat. That's just the way it is. Doesn't matter if you have a cell phone or not. Doesn't matter if you have GPS on them or not. You know, people are smart today, especially this generation. They know how to turn that shit off so you can't locate them.
Mm-hmm.
Or say, oh, you know, I dropped my cell phone in a puddle on the street and it's all fucking dead now. Oh, why are you talking on it? Well, I was able to stick it in some rice
Mm.
and it sucked all the water out and started working again. So that's what I'm saying. You know, it's not the times where like, you know, for sneaking around and doing this or that. It was really just better because we communicated so more, and you know, people weren't afraid to say things. There wasn't a lot of social awkwardness, I guess would be the best way to put that. You know, if it's one thing we learned from the pandemic, that fucked a lot of people up. People today are a lot more socially awkward than ever. But anyhow, so we're going to talk about love, Valentine's Day. And I have kind of a mental list. I did not write this down. So if I'm searching for it for a second, don't worry, I got it. So the first question that I'm going to pose to Hoofbeast, myself, and everybody out there in the comment section, this is where you guys get to tell us your answers to some of these questions. So I'll start first with Hoofbeast, and then we'll go on to the comment section so they get a chance. What is your ideal Valentine's Day date?
Mm-hmm.
Set the mood for us.
Oh, let's see. Well, my wife doesn't, she has nothing to do with metal at all. So I have to
Dun,
throw,
dun, dun.
yeah, maybe every year or two, maybe there's a good metal show on Valentine's Day that I could go to. So have to throw that one out. I don't
Remember,
know.
but this is your ideal, like
Oh,
your ideal.
oh, if I could do what the fuck I want,
Mm-hmm.
that is definitely not Facebook rated.
Can you give us the NC-17 version?
Ooh. Oh, here. Oh, I'm gonna have to say I can't give you the. I have a big imagination. You know, being,
Give us the cliff notes, man. We don't have to have the meat and the, you know, the potatoes of it. Just
I,
like, where would you want to take somebody? Like, you know, what would you like to be doing activity wise?
I would
Obviously, we know how it wants to end.
I would want to go out for Indian food and then go to a great metal show afterward, and then
All
not,
right.
not have a long drive back home. Go to a hotel and.
After eating that Indian food, you start thinking about the Kama Sutra. Oh shit. So okay, we're lighting up down here. Hallmark's biggest seller next to condolences cards. Yeah. Isn't that fun? Oh my goodness. Mouse Bong says catch a killer show, shop for new records, and bang it out. That is fantastic and very
that is like
very honest. Paul says, give her the pelvis like Elvis. And then Kyler, of course, chimes in and says, and tacos. Somehow nacho cheese has to get up in there, I guess. For me, I don't know. I guess I would say I kind of would either be happy with like Chinese food or real Italian food, not the bullshit. Shit, I'd even be happy with like Red fucking Lobster. I love their garlic butter rolls. Holy fuck, those things. They are addictive. And watch a good horror film and, well, you know, everything leads, to where it leads after that. So doesn't have to be nothing big and exciting for me. Everybody's different though. Some people want, oh man, I heard a couple in my store today talk about, oh, well, if you buy this for me, can you still get me chocolates and flowers? I'm sitting here going, damn. All right. I guess if you're traditional, you're traditional. I mean, I'm more about like, shoot, good meal, watch a good flick or something, and, drink some good bourbon or some wine and just fucking, I don't know, just let it all hang out. That'd be good for me. But yeah, I mean, if there was a good metal show, sure, go out and check it out. God damn. That's kind of a no-brainer. But if there isn't, there's always the theater.
Yeah.
And there's also having fun in the theater, especially with those reclining seats they have these days. Because you can make the divider go away.
And when I lived in Thailand, you could pay like an extra 10 or 15 bucks and you could go into a special room that had, they weren't exactly beds.
No.
They weren't couches, and they were kind of odd, kind of organic, biomorphic shaped, big couches with all kinds of pillows. You had service, and they had I think they had 9 of them in the theater. And so you watch the show, and they gave you blankets, and you just cuddle up and watch the show. We did that a few times.
There's nothing better than getting naughty in a movie theater. Case in point, one of my favorite times in my high school life, we used to have a theater down in our shopping area or whatever, and you always knew what to do. You go during the day while it's still light out. You pick a movie that no one is going to want to see. And then you end up being the only one there. Mm-hmm. So, sky's the limit. So, yeah.
I just would recommend against taking Susie Rottencrotch because there's something that would give it away to, the employee who has to come and check every half hour.
Well, first of all, I think you would have to, make sure the person you're with is, decent. Let's put it that way.
But maybe you don't know. It might be the first opportunity.
That's true. Now that's all in our minds. Moving on. So, what are 3 things that you just will not put up with in a relationship that isn't all of the ones we already know? Liars, cheaters, etc. 3 things that are just kind of a hell no for you.
Let's see. Lack of intimacy.
Mouse Pong says Susie Rottencrotch sounds like a garbage pail kid. It's official. We're gonna have to make that one. Johnny Necro's in here, so I bet you he could create a character based on that. That'd be great. So you said lack of intimacy.
Yeah, lack of intimacy would be a no-go. Yeah, like I'm pretty easygoing. I mean, because if you've taken away the lies, then that would definitely be one.
Oh, because
Just
nobody wants to be lied to, you know?
not wanting to go out and explore something, go for a hike, go to a different city, try a different restaurant we maybe have to drive a little farther for. Always try to do something new. So if they were just wanting to go home all the time, like that kind of is like, that's one of the symptoms for somebody who's quitting a marriage, which is something I came across today.
Yeah, let's hear about that. We want to hear the list.
Bill Maher talked about it last night, and
quitting a marriage.
and he was really funny, and so I typed it in, and I found a really well written article about quitting a marriage and they gave 6 warning signs for somebody who's quit a marriage. Number 1 was lack of intimacy.
That means 0. Not, someone that's, trying to put in 2-3 times a week. We're talking about 0 a month. Of course, that also depends if the person's gone most of the time.
Yeah.
So.
Or somebody, it would also to me include somebody who just is willing to lie there and act like a doll.
Yeah, so basically dead carp syndrome.
So another one is somebody who's gone all the time and is not there to spend time with you.
That's that. Yep. I feel that. I would say definitely for me, too much time away gives somebody and it's not like they do it on purpose, but they're away a lot and around other people. And sometimes, you were once, on their mind a lot, but it's like the moment that they leave every time, you're forgotten about and then have to reconnect after coming back. That's a lot. That is a lot for some folks to handle. Was that 3 for you?
I don't know if that was number 3.
Or do you have more?
Yeah, there are more. So one was if it's somebody who's not willing to argue about anything, because let's perfectly frank, no couple in a relationship is always going to get along all of the time.
Right.
If somebody,
I call those heated discussions.
Yeah, someone who doesn't even want to argue or have a heated discussion or passionate discussion anymore, don't care. Or if it's somebody, another one was somebody who is just so easygoing, you don't get any highs, no high passion, no negative passion. They're just always neutral in the gray.
That is really fucking interesting. Way to go there, Bill Maher.
Bill was hilarious the way he was presenting his, and his was not.
Oh, I'm sure it was probably some psychologist that probably came up with these things.
Yeah. He took them and then he put his own spin on them, which was better.
Oh, I'm sure it was brilliant.
One I read was like a psychologist who had written the stuff, or a licensed counselor. Yeah, once I saw that, I had to Google that topic and check it out.
Absolutely, because it and human nature is human nature. Especially as a Satanist, we are very much about human nature, and it's like, well, if certain things that come so naturally to us suddenly start to It's because 9 times out of 10, there's something else out there that's getting their attention.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that's true for everybody, but maybe they're thinking about some other things. Some people, and I mean, obviously, I ain't going to name no names or nothing, but some people, I think, just reach a point where it just doesn't become that important to them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not for any reason. It's not a malicious thing. Some people just, I think, I don't know. Maybe it's like they get bored kind of thing. I don't know. But it's really, really interesting.
And I think the last one was not showing any interest in your partner's interests.
Now, does that count support?
Yeah,
or no?
It could be support as well, but they were just talking about like interest. So let's say, you know, we do the podcast. I make my own music and stuff like that, and they never ever want to ask about it or find out anything about it. That's
Doesn't even watch it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm in love with myself then, because I always go back and rewatch it myself. Well, you know, I always think about how can I improve, or you know, look for the fine points on like what really kind of like amped up the good energy and all that. Yeah, that's an odd one. How about, well, I don't know. I have another one that might actually go along with that. Basically having to support something that you don't necessarily agree with to avoid catastrophe.
Yeah.
Like this is, you know, it's gonna be this way or not kind of thing. Which will actually lead into another portion of that I was going to say, but just want to make sure that I catch a couple of these comments out of here. So Kyler said Hoofbeast would probably say sleep token. Of course, that's a no. We don't do that. Cody says, hey, everyone, showing love. Lamb of God just blew the roof off this joint. Well, that's really good to hear.
Cody, how many songs off of Ashes of the Wake and Sacrament did they play?
Right.
Those Lamb of God albums.
As I think it's most people's favorites. And then, I like this. Mousebong gave us a nice little list here. Number 1, utter laziness when it comes to the relationship. I can't stand lazy partners because I'm not lazy at all. So I'm assuming that's like being productive and doing things. Because if it's laziness in the bedroom, shame on you.
It could be taking initiative, to be thoughtful.
Sure.
To look to see if there's a theater play or a movie out or a concert or something that other person likes. Not taking initiative could be that.
Manipulating things to get what you want. Ooh.
That's fucking awful. That's a
wow. That's powerful. And then number 3, someone not true to themselves. Nothing worse than a fake baked motherfucking poser. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Because it's not very long. If you're fake, if you go along with somebody and they have big red flags, it's going to be compounded and it's going to be unbearable after a while.
Absolutely. Hey, Charles Sherrod, what's up, man? Glad you could make the show. Cody says Laid to Rest was the final. There you go. Let's see. Frozen Dead says Valentine's Day is the anniversary birthday of my comic character Bret Hart, who Johnny Necro first cut out of his own chest in the year 2000 in the Daily Texas newspaper in Austin, Texas. Well, that's awesome. Congratulations, brother. So getting back to that is like, when you demand, I don't necessarily know if I want to say demand. It's like, if you want to be with me, you're going to have to be willing to put up with XYZ.
Mhm.
It's like, if you have a different, or let's say an opposing opinion about what it is they're doing, or even voice your opinion about, hey, this one's kind of a no-no for me, but they do it anyway. That's some things that I don't like.
Mhm.
Especially if you say, I'm not going to do this, but then you end up doing it anyway, regardless of knowing that that bothers me. And they just say, well, just support me in this. Not everyone is equipped to, I don't know. People are not made like they were, let's say, even 20 years ago, where people are willing to shoulder a lot of shit. Some people, shit just don't bother them. It's like, okay, well, if you're happy, that's all that matters. It's one less worry off my head. But I don't know. Asking too much of your partner, I think, in that realm. And I'm
Yeah.
talking about not like lighthearted type things, but just like life stuff. How long can you continue to shoulder that and just be okay with it, even though deep down you're not okay with it really? But if you say something, it's like, oh, well, you knew what the deal was in the beginning. That stuff I don't like. People that go back on, basically promises, uh, or asking somebody too much instead of like reaching a happy medium.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, that's right in line with a lot of these. Don't show indifference is also like indifference,
Mm.
huge red flag.
All right. So let's go around the room and see what everyone's best date ever was.
Gosh.
Like that one date that was just like, this was like the best shit ever, forever ingrained in my memory banks.
Mm.
Could be recent, could be old.
God, there's so many good ones. I don't know.
Oh shit, once upon a time, Hoofbeast was a playboy.
Uh,
Okay, well, if you had to pick one.
well, the one that keeps coming to mind might be the one I have to choose, and it was an innocent one, but it was a girl. She was half Irish, half Chinese. She was awesome,
What a mix.
and
Wow.
smelled so good, and her skin was so smooth. Oh man, that was a good one. We went and saw Dream Warriors, Freddie
Oh shit. All right.
together, and then we saw that Glenn Close movie with Michael Douglas, where she kind of turns on him because over a relationship or over the relationship or something, and I don't remember if she had him killed or what, but it was in the 80s. We went and
Mm,
saw. Those were good damn dates.
nice. I don't
Probably.
know. For me, it was doing like, there was one time that I went and I was with a date. We went to the opera to see Don Giovanni. By far one of my favorites, because it was like, got to get a little, gussied up, looking your best, whatever. And just taking in this amazing production. Of course, the devil is in it. So just a lot of fun. Shoot. Another time was going to watch a musical, believe it or not. Because I enjoy stuff like that. Some stuff, it really depends on what the story is. Like the Barber of Seville. It's one of my all time. The Demon Barber on oh shit. E Street or whatever. Well, we caught this production. It was awesome. And I think I went and seen Wicked too, which the fucking singers were just amazing. Production was amazing. And then, went to the casino and then proceeded to watch the sun come up in a fun way. Lots of good bourbon too. So, it was one of those times that was just amazeballs. Let's see here. Mousebong says, I was at a fest with a carnival, and we closed out the night at the top of the Ferris wheel watching The Cure play. Whoa. How cool is that? 100, here we go, 100 milligrams of gummy snack along with. So
that's a good dose. Now, 250 milligram dose. When that was back in like October, right? It was like 35 minutes before the show. Oh my God.
Shit. Anybody out there in Morgrot universe, feel free to let us know what one of your most iconic dates was. And let's see, what's the last one? Oh, okay. Paul says a memorable date for him was watching he saw My Bloody Valentine 3D. Nice. That sounds like a blast. I loved that rendition of it, by the way. I'm a huge fan of the original, but the remake, awesome. Totally awesome. So one term that gets kicked around a lot. What is your love language? What is your love language? This is my love language. So I have to pose that question since, everybody's all about mindfulness and this and that. So what would you call your love language?
Physical affection. For my wife, it's doing things for her, doing spontaneous little gifts, surprising her by cooking her something, making her a coffee, fixing a drink when she doesn't have to ask for it. She likes little surprises, things like that. But
so just like a lot of real thoughtfulness, like thinking basically about your partner without them having to say anything. Sure, absolutely.
For me,
go ahead.
Be touched. That's mine.
Now define that.
Not sexually.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say some people have like they equate physical touch with, well, they have to be exciting me in some kind of way. So it's kind of good to know that it doesn't necessarily, and I've always said this, it doesn't necessarily have to be something like that to show any kind of love for that person. I mean, for me, come on now, you see the top of my head. One of the quickest ways to my heart is rubbing the dome. Don't know why. I love the way it feels. I have done it to myself many times since I went bald at 19. It's like right after a fresh shave and you just feel that smooth ass skin, or it's also a sign that I'm like fucking pissed off too if I'm rubbing my head. But I love that. Touch for me is very important, but it doesn't always have to lead south. It doesn't have to be that way. There are many ways. You can run your fingers through my beard, that kind of thing.
You can whisper in my ear and smell my neck, something like that. That type of thing. Right.
God damn it, Paul. Grunt like Sasquatch. So that is your love language. You grunt like a Sasquatch. Now, I would almost want to hear the audio of that. Yeah, And I do agree with this also, because this is something I do quite often myself. Physical touch, obviously, we just covered that. Gift giving is my jam. I love to give. See, that's kind of how I am. I don't have to hear, "Hey, can you take the garbage out? Can you clean the house? Can you do the laundry? The dishes? Take care of the kids, make sure that this is this and this is that." I do all that shit without having to be told. So, in a way, I feel like I'm giving a lot. Is it a lot to do? Because, God damn it, at 47, by the time I'm done, I'm ready for a little nightcap.
Yeah, when you
But
have,
I do it though.
and for me, like owning my own business, it's a
Same.
lot of work. It's more stress. You have to be on all the time. It's
All the
based,
time, 24/7, damn near.
you have to be positive. You have to be happy. Even though at my job, I have a lot of retired people that come in and they have nothing to do all day. And who's the captive audience that they can come talk to? And who's going to be sweet and interesting and
Right?
questions and show interest in them? I'm freaking exhausted by the time I come home.
Oh, man. I mean, at my store, I do tarot readings. Well, let me tell you, tarot readings are very intimate. You are revealing not only things that that person knows or doesn't know, and it's a surprise, but it opens the window to like what's been going on in their life, what is happening at that very moment, or what has happened, and they're shitting themselves about tomorrow. Case in point, had a tarot reading I did today for one of my favorite clients in the world, Mrs. Freeman. She is this sweet old lady. She's 81 years old, bless her soul. And her sister just passed away last week. It came up in the reading. It was emotional. But, by the end of the reading, she's like, "I don't know why I didn't come to you sooner. I should have done that." I'm like, you know what? Sometimes you have to give yourself a moment and like take it all in before you're ready to talk about it. And let me tell you, any kind of like emotional conversation, just like the old folks that tell you their life story, it can drain you, man. Big time. And I don't mind doing it, because that's just me. Again, another one of my love languages is to help.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's me.
That's why I was a teacher for 24 fucking years. I gave more of a shit about those kids than their parents did. I think that's true of any teacher. I mean, you did it yourself. You're giving yourself over to other people's emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another big love language for me. I listen. I will listen to you. Tell me about your day. Like, what's been going on? What's exciting? And it's always kind of like if somebody, it's weird because any other person in the world can be like, "Oh, I want to tell everything." I want to tell anyone because I don't know who's going to listen. But it's like when your partner knows that you're a listener and that you want to hear everything. It's not intrusive. It's not, "Oh, we're trying to like be in your business." It's like when I come home from work, I'm going to say how the day went, good or bad, whatever. But I also want to hear about, my partner's day too. The most minute thing. Oh, I talked to so-and-so today, or I've been working on this today, or this happened. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of like, it sucks when you have to pull it out. I don't know if you've ever had that problem in a relationship before, but It's like sometimes, you know, some people you just have to like pull it out of them. And it's just like, again, that's also love language because that shows how much you care about your person. So I believe in multiple love languages. I don't believe that you just have one. And so many people do say that. Oh, well, my love language is just this. It's like, huh? Mousebong says, same. I love helping. That's why I'm a counselor. Oh, shit. So you know exactly what we're talking about, getting invested in people's lives. Babylon is here. He made it. What condition are we in tonight, sir?
Is a 4 glasses of wine and 2 gummies in evening?
So glad you made it, man. We're talking about love
This thing
tonight.
is filled halfway with absolute grapefruit flavored, naturally flavored vodka,
Ooh, that's good.
cranberry juice. And then my wife and I shared a cigarette right before, and we're not cigarette smokers. And then we had a glass of wine with dinner before. So there we go.
Absolutely. Oh, he says he's sober, but he's about to start.
All right. No better place.
Well, now that Babylon has shown up, we were just talking about love languages because that's like, for some reason, like the hippest thing in the world when it comes to relationships these days is, what is your love language? To me, I just think of it as being a decent goddamn partner. Just like you, Hoofbeast, you know, and everybody out there in Morgrot land, you know, you guys think about your partner and what would make them happy. Not that you're necessarily a people pleaser, but a happier partner is a happier you at the same time. Babylon says, just cracked a bottle of red wine and letting it breathe a bit. That's all right. We got more to talk about.
Cab or a Merlot?
Shit, I'm just happy he's having a good time. Or about to, I should say. Speaking of which, time to fill up the glass.
Italian.
There we go. So, next on the list. Everybody always talks about turn-ons. We're not going to talk about that. I think it would be fun, more fun, to talk about what your 3 biggest turn-offs are.
Okay. If you're a right-wing theocratic fascist, fucking no fucking chance. No. If you have issues that are smelly, like bad personal hygiene, no fucking chance. If you have,
I'm dying.
If you have absolutely, see, I have these answers like I had no idea. I know myself so well.
Well, that's good.
If you have really low self-esteem and you need me to build you up every fucking day, all day, and all I feel like I do is give and give and give and put out your fucking fires, no fucking more. Like, that's good fucking bye.
I really connect with that one. Putting out fires for other folks is very goddamn exhausting. And you know, the thing that I hate the most, it's like when you know somebody that intimately, but they put on a facade to other people, making them think that they are all knowing, they are fucking super ironclad strong. But at the core of it, that ain't the case. They're just putting on a mask. I am not a fan of masks.
Yeah.
If you are a broken person, even, and there's nothing against that, if that's the case, nothing against that at all. Don't pretend to be something else that you're not. You know what I mean? I can't stand that. It's not, some people look at it as like wearing your heart on your sleeve or whatever. It's like, no, just own that shit. If that's you, that's you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? A good sense of self-esteem, strength is always going to be like a turn on for anyone, in my opinion. Some people, I'm not, again, no names of any kind of or anything. I'm just talking in general. There are those that feel like they have to fix people. You know them. People out there in fucking Morgrot universe here, they know it too. There are those people that feel like they can fix somebody, and they end up, holy shit, it's been 5 years. You know what I mean? And you're still having to fix that person. You lose yourself in that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's nothing wrong. Everybody has their insecurities, this, that, the other thing. There's nothing wrong. It's like you're as long as the communication is strong, and in turn you lift each other up.
Mm-hmm.
I think what Hoofbeast was talking about, when you have to build somebody else up, but you're not really getting that in return.
Yeah, well, that's part of it, not getting it in return, or it's kind of like they love playing the victim, or they love learned helplessness. And so they've learned that they'll get attention and their attention needs met if they keep their life to a certain disastrous level. And somebody's always going to show them affection and try to rescue them from it, or at least listen and help. Like, that's not cool when it's not a give and take and a well-balanced relationship. That's not cool.
Yeah.
And I'm not going against people who have legitimate traumas or things that have happened.
Exactly.
They need help. Now, if they don't listen to counselors, because I was a special ed teacher for years as well, and I was a senior counselor at a wilderness camp for 3 years. And so I've been around psychologists a lot. I've been in all kinds of IEP meetings and loads of stuff, behavioral meetings, like all kinds of stuff. And
interventions.
Yes, I listen to psychologists, and I've learned.
Trust me. I've listened to them, but I've also learned that a lot of them are not as equipped as you would think they are.
Well, I believe there are usually two types, and maybe Mouse Bong will jump in on this. Schools. I saw the balloons go up, and they were.
That was awesome.
Maybe Mouse Bong will jump in on this one.
Probably.
So when I worked at an alternative school. Everybody at the school was emotionally disabled. They had been diagnosed as emotionally disabled.
Sure.
And so we had meetings every single morning about the day, because these kids presented all kinds of behaviors. They had all kinds of horrible childhood experiences, a lot of them.
Yes.
And so we communicated really well so we could support each other, understand the kids when they were trying to play us, or what
exactly
on the manipulation. A lot of them were manipulators, things like this. But there were two types of counselors or psychologists that I ran into. One was the type that just wanted to be their friend and not
do that.
Not make the tough points. Those are the ones that drove me crazy. Case in point, we had a boy who had been running around with gangs, and he started getting into drugs quite a bit, and he started getting pretty violent at the school.
Ooh.
Well, we had a large boy that probably weighed about 350 pounds, gentle autistic giant. And so this boy, the naughty boy who was uh, wanting to leave school so he could go steal or scope out places to steal from, so he could sell that, have money to buy his drugs, and then sell drugs for his gang.
Yep.
He always wanted to get out. Well, I wouldn't let him out, and he could never get me angry. I was always really calm when I spoke with him, and I would work our program that we had. And so he went out and he punched a big electrical box. It was a heavy duty electrical box. And he broke his two metatarsals right here on the outside of his hand. So he was in a cast, but he had his two fingers out, and they put the fiberglass up to the digit here so where he could bend his fingers. But it was like a weapon sticking out in a fiberglass cast up to his elbow.
Mm.
He got suspended for hitting that metal box. He dented it a little bit. He hit it so hard. He was trying to intimidate me, but like I've done so much martial arts, I just take him to the ground and choke his ass out if I had to.
Sure.
So the boy came back the next week and he tested me on the same thing again. He wanted to leave early. He'd finished all of his work. I wouldn't let him go. The rocket scientist went out and used his left hand and broke the same exact two bones in his other hand. So now he had two weapons with a hard piece of fiberglass up to where he could bend his fingers, and his fingers poked out a little bit, but he had weapons. Well, the autistic boy, if you guys don't understand autism, a lot of times they will point out what other people are doing wrong if they're breaking love, who's breaking the rules. And this was
absolutely they do.
Mental job. So this boy, he wasn't supposed to be. We were in adjoining portable buildings, classrooms. Yep. The rule at the school was you don't let any of your students sit at your desk because that was next to the window and they could watch what was going on in the courtyard.
Exactly.
So boy, I had to leave, and I had a teaching assistant in my class who knew how to restrain and do all this stuff. And so he leaves, and I left to go to the restroom. So the bad boy was next door in the other class with both casts on his arms. And as soon as he saw me leave, he went over and hamburgered that autistic young man's face. Like, it was really bad. By the time it was all over, and the teacher was a weak panty waist next door, he couldn't even intervene and break this. They're like, fucking bullshit.
Right.
So the two types of counselors or psychologists, we have to bring it back to that.
Yes, we do.
The counselor did not want me to encourage that family to press charges on this other young man who had already been in all kinds of trouble. And they refused to allow me to call the father who had joint custody of the young man. I was not call the young man. I called the dad anyways. I didn't give a fuck because I knew legally they wouldn't try to get me in trouble. And so I told the dad, and the dad was actually a reasonable person. And
thank goodness.
But so anyways, there's one type in counselors and psychologists. Sorry this is taking so long, but
no worries.
That just baby the kids, and they really don't help the kids. They don't show them the mirror and show them a different path. And sometimes tough conversations that hold them accountable to their unhealthy behaviors. And then the second best were the ones I loved, and almost all of our psychologists were that way. Yeah, celebration. Almost all of our school counselors, we had 9 high schools in the district. They were really good. They did not put up with shit. They cut to the chase, and they helped the kids. They really cared about the kids. But all those kids knew, don't try to play them. They're really smart, and you're not going to get away with it. They did show the love. I saw it time and time again, and the kids had much better results with those types of counselors or psychologists.
They connect better. And I think even adults connect better with somebody that is not, you know what I'm saying, gonna, say, hey, we're gonna make excuses for you about, it helps to oh man, enable anyone, man or woman, doesn't matter, that because of what's going on with you, you're a mess of a human being, and there's like no hope for you. I think that really, I don't know. The best thing to do, I think, if you're that broken, because we're again talking about relationships, guys, is if you feel like you're just not ready to be in a relationship, like I said, I think all of us are broken in our own way. You know what I mean? But if you're not ready to be with somebody, don't be with somebody just because, oh, I don't want to be alone on Valentine's Day. Fuck that. If you're not ready and you haven't found somebody, I don't know, suitable for yourself. I mean, obviously you got to put yourself out there only if you're ready to. So many times people just jump from relationship to a relationship and don't give themselves any time to breathe. You know what I mean? Or say, okay, I know this is what I want. This is what I'm not going to accept. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. You won't run into some of these relationship pitfalls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it's like to I'll tell you one thing I run into. This is a little secret about Nebraska that probably most people don't know. There are so many open relationships in this state, more than you would think. I could not fucking imagine having to deal with multiple people versus just one. That's got to be fucking exhausting.
No
I
experience.
am not saying anything against anyone that is like down with that kind of thing. If that makes you happy and it's your world and it's good for you, then I'm happy for you. I couldn't do it. That's crazy. Mousebong says the high school kids scare me. I work with adults that have mental and intellectual deficiencies, and I definitely try to keep a nice balance between friendly and business. And that's the way it should be. Balance. And that's probably the biggest thing about love, since we've been talking about that today, is balance.
Mm-hmm.
The moment there is an imbalance with your partner, you got to vocalize it.
Mm-hmm. So somebody told me years ago, this is like, gosh, 34 years ago.
Damn.
True love is when you love somebody so much that you're willing to let them go. So if you see that there's incompatibility issues, you don't try to control them or manipulate them to fit into who you are.
Right.
You let them be who they are. You should be allowed to be who you are. And hopefully you figured it out before you got married or shacked up that that's what works best. But being willing not to control somebody.
No, and that should never be shit. That shouldn't even like come into it. But I'm saying, you're ride or die when you got them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And especially this day and age, if you got that, hold on to that shit like it's nobody's business. Because, that's real love. And that's really something interesting you said there is no one should try to control anyone or suit them to fit you. But I also think there's a fine line between just trying to have a good balance where that person's not going to do something that they know that would bother you and the other person would not. It's balance. It's respect. Respect each other.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it. Ay, ay, ay. So, Mouse Bong says, open relationships do sound like a lot of extra drama. And it really is because there are supposedly these rules, that you can see other people as long as it doesn't get to an emotional level. I just call it having your cake and eat it too.
Mm.
Now, if you discuss it in the beginning and say that that's okay, you're down with this, fine. Don't try to go back on it and say, oh, well, this is not making me feel good. Because you knew what you were getting into when you signed on. Babylon says, I don't share. Exactamundo. And it was just kind of, I am not a square by any stretch of the imagination. What you do is your business, whether I agree with it or not. I'm a bit of a freak myself, but, you know, I just don't know. I don't know how people do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it. Anton LaVey said it best. You cannot love everyone. And to think that you can is a mistake.
Mm.
That's why, truly, at the end of the day, there is that one person that you can't live without. And, you couldn't imagine going a day without him.
Mm-hmm.
You would do anything for him. Step in front of a moving fucking semi. You know what I mean? So that's why I say I don't know how people do the sharing thing. I just don't get it. Um, I'm sure that there's multiple reasons there. But I that's just not something I could ever do. So no matter what your status is, it doesn't matter. As long as you're happy, that is what matters the most. Most importantly, know what you want and what what you're willing to do. If you love that person that much, as long as it doesn't hurt you, or no one's out here to change nobody, you know what I mean? As long as it's, not a toxic relationship, then my hat's off to you. Think about that, especially single folk out there. You know what I mean? Let's see. Mousebong says, okay, wouldn't work for me because I'm emotional. I think I lean towards the demisexual. I don't even know what the fuck that is, but okay. And that's fine. I don't know. For me, it does have to be on an emotional level. I was never one to have one night stands or anything like that. Never entered into my mind. Just can't do it. Babylon says, I would do anything for love, but I won't do that by Meatloaf. I love it. Mousebong says, people who identify as demisexual only feel sexual attraction to somebody after they've formed a strong emotional bond. Okay, I get it now. Gotcha. All right, well, that concludes our section on love. Let's get back to some more fun. So I was scrolling through and saw that Tim Burton is remaking the 1958 cult classic Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. He hasn't made a movie in like forever. The most recent thing that he's even directed was the Wednesday episode TV show. What would make him want to remake that? I remember watching that film, the original. It was fun, but I don't know why go with that. I wanted to get people's thoughts on that.
I'm really excited about that. Like, I could see that being really, really interesting to me, as long as they don't do like what. Now, I didn't see the Barbie movie, but my daughter and my wife came back and told me about it. As long as they don't get to like PC, politically correct, over the top, um, with offending everybody or looking to be offended, this type of, if they load it with that type of stuff, just make it like a horror movie. Write a good plot. Don't throw all of this flavor of the day political issues or social issues in it. And I think that could be, like with the CGI today, I think that could be really interesting. I'm actually, like, when you showed that, I was like, that's really cool, but I could see how Hollywood would influence it and make it something that is not desirable.
Well, and if Tim Burton is the same old Tim Burton we know, who is like the goth king of films, every film he's done, Edward Scissorhands, um, shit, even reviving the old Dark Shadows and all of that stuff, that shit is gold because, man, it's grittier, it's darker, and just so wonderfully luscious. I would hope that that is the same thing that would happen with this. Because when, you've seen the original, I mean, it's black and white, you know, it had its own flavor, and it is basically, a cult classic, but I think he could make it darker. That is what I am hoping to see. And if we could leave, like you said, any of the like pseudo political stuff underpinning what's going on in the film, because if you look at the original, I don't think they had a political case going on in that thing at all.
No.
It was just about a 50-foot woman that could fucking crush the world. And I mean, that can be terrifying. Let's see here. Yes, that is right. Alice was his last film. And Frozen Dead said the actress from Attack of the 50-Foot Cam Girl movie is pissed about it for some reason, even though even her movie isn't the original. So, yeah, you know what I mean?
Like,
somebody's always going to have something negative to say about it, but I think Tim Burton has a really good opportunity to make this something even better.
One thing that I cannot stand in any television series or movie, and I call this the Americanization of a film, is when the characters show no stress. They're under 30 years old and they have everything figured out. They're cool as a cucumber. And yeah, and they have a great sense of humor, and they're calm all the time, dealing with extremely unrealistic issues.
Right.
And I hate that. Like, they're so confident. You know how it's going to turn out because, and nothing really scares them or gets them down. That's part of being human. When a lot of movies kind of sensationalize this idea of a hero that's confident, then that's shit always stumbles me. Makes me stub my toe. But anyway, you get the picture. I hate,
for sure.
If I start watching a series and 10 minutes into it, I can tell it's going to be one of those things that I'm fucking done. I'm like, nope, it's too Americanized. I'm done.
Yeah. And like I said, his track record is definitely on the more morbid side of things. Mm-hmm. So sure, let him go ahead, do this thing. I'm excited to see what comes of it.
I want to be scared by this.
That would be really cool. Because, 50-foot woman, that could be amazing. All right. So, next item on the list. Now, this is really interesting. The Grammys just happened. It was
God,
even, huh?
I think I know what you're going to bring up.
You already fucking know.
It's your
So, even the Osbournes talked about the Grammys on their podcast this past week, and I have to agree with them. They need to do something different with that show. I feel that they should have split the show into 2 shows instead of 1, because motherfucker, that thing is long and boring. And there's so many categories that you don't even get to see. Jazz, blues, even orchestral things, movie scores, soundtracks, that type of shit. You don't get to see that. But of course, the one we're going to talk about is best metal performance.
Yep, I knew it.
When I saw who was in line for this, I said, who the fuck is smoking crack? Now, the funny part about this was Metal Injection, and they spelled disturbed. You got to love that first and foremost. Ghost was also nominated for Phantom of the Opera, Slipknot for Hive Mind, Spirit Box, and then Metallica wins for 72 Seasons. So you remember when we did our synopsis of 72 Seasons on Tracks of the Damned? You're not a metal fan if you felt that album was metal. Why did we give that award to Metallica? At this point, I would have much rather have handed it over to Slipknot, because honestly, they're the most metal act on that list, in my opinion. I would have said, okay. Metallica? No. You want to know what's funny about that, though? Only one member of Metallica showed up.
Robert Trujillo.
Yep. A true fucking soldier. That guy should have gotten kudos long before he ever jumped on this Metallica train. He's been with Ozzy. He's been with his original band for so many years. And the guy, his speech was awesome. That was the coolest part about it. I just wish it wasn't for that album, for Metallica, period. And then the 3 original members don't even show up to accept the award.
I don't even want to say anything about this. The Grammys, I have zero interest in them. They're not about creativity. They're not about analyzing music. They're not about anything being groundbreaking, new, or fresh. It's about who's going to like us the most. Oh, Metallica has the most fans. They just went on a huge tour, and they're going to reward them. This is kind of about as bad as who did Aqualung? I just had it in my mind. And they beat Metallica for, I think, And Justice for All.
Son of a bitch.
The park bench. Down his nose.
The guy that plays the fucking flute, Jethro Tull.
Jethro Tull. Jethro Tull.
Because they were metal.
1988 or 89 beat out Metallica and Justice for All. And they have no integrity, no, like, I can't listen to them. It's like a politician who's done the opposite of something, and then they come out and they want you to give them integrity for caring or something like that, and they've done absolutely the opposite.
Exactly.
You have no integrity. Get the fuck out of here.
Abso-fucking-lutely. And then, oh, big surprise. They show up on the best rock album also, along with Queens of the Stone Age, Paramore, Greta Van Fleet, which is basically Led Zeppelin reincarnated, and the fucking Foo Fighters. Now, that's the category I feel that they belong in.
Yeah.
And it would have been great because they would have lost. Not fucking metal. Not. Period. Babylon must be getting into it. He says, have you seen the weirdo Alice in Wonderland that had claymation and stop motion from Norway or Sweden? It's friggin' epic. No, I haven't.
Huh.
So I think I'm going to have to try to find it now. Nice. So we're going to close out with something I'm actually very excited about. We now know who Kerry King's vocalist is. Lead singer Mark Asqueda. He said, I worked so hard on getting this gig, and yes, I'm still very much the lead vocalist of Death Angel. Dude, I am so excited about this. This guy, I don't know about you guys out there in the Morgrot universe, but this guy, pound for pound as a metal singer, Death Angel, okay? I'm excited about this. This guy has pipes, and he's seasoned, and he's really good. So the fact that, you know, this album has been talked about as just basically a continuation of Slayer. Can you picture this guy singing Rain and Blood?
Absolutely.
Angel of Death.
And he sounds a lot like Tom Araya, because I heard at least one of the Kerry King new songs.
Yes, Idle Hands.
Yeah. And it sounds like something off of Repentless to me. So, like, I'm not super excited, because what I liked is when Slayer slowed it down, and when a lot of the single note melodies that were like on Rain and Blood and South of Heaven, and especially Seasons in the Abyss. And that's not there. It's still the same. It's all power chord riffage for the most part. And that's boring to me. So, like, I'm not real excited about this at all.
I don't know. For me, I go into it like this. When Seasons of the Abyss first came out, the first single released was War Ensemble.
Mm-hmm.
The basic run-of-the-mill Slayer riffing. So I don't want to prejudge this album until I hear it in its entirety. This is coming out, I believe, May 16th. So once I hear the whole record, if it is just Idle Hands all the way through, you're right. I'm going to absolutely hate it. But maybe, fingers and hooves crossed, there is some dynamicism there.
Yeah. I agree.
That's what I'm hoping for.
That's a good point. But War Ensemble's one hell of a song, too.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I mean, that is a fantastic song. But it doesn't surprise me that Kerry King would lead with a song like Idle Hands, though. Number one, I think from a marketing standpoint, he's trying to reawaken Slayer fans. because that's the one thing that he's got going for him the most is Slayer fans are always going to be Slayer fans. I think they wanted more also. You know what I mean? So give them that taste, that signature Kerry King riffage, and get them hooked that way, and then hit them with something different, hopefully. Because if not, it won't last long. And you know that. I know that. So, but I do like the singer that they chose. I think that's a good vocalist for that.
Tom Araya, he sounds great. As a matter of fact, I hope they play it songs whenever they go out on tour, because I really enjoy that. Because you still have Paul Bostaph, you have Kerry King, and I don't remember who the guitarist is, but that singer sounds really good. I think he found a great vocalist for him.
Absolutely. Let's just hope that they don't oversaturate the record with the same old thing. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for partying with us tonight. You made it through our synopsis on love. So when Valentine's Day pops up, it's Ugly Head next week, which honestly, you guys know it. You should be celebrating your partner if you have one every day, not just Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is a way to flood the stores with people spending money. That's what it is. But always be good to each other. And you guys have been awesome tonight, giving us your insight as well, which is always a blast. We appreciate that shit so much. But just always be a good human. Be good to each other, you know. Work out your differences the best you can, but always let your partner know that you, most importantly, have to stay heavy.